Hello and welcome to Fair Rugby on Fair Sports. British and Irish Lions versus Japan is what we are talking about. The first British and Irish Lions match of the season. And after a long sort of wait where we've sort of had to wonder, was this tour going to get ahead? Were we going to get Lions Rugby this year? Well, the answer is yes. 4 o'clock South African Standard Time, 3 o'clock British Standard Time, Murrayfield, Edinburgh, Scotland. That is the venue as Japan, the Brave Blossoms, will take on the Lions. And it's a Lions side which I don't think is sensational, and there have been 2 changes that have had to be made to the Lions side because of injuries. But it's not a bad Lions side by any means, and I think that what's always quite interesting is seeing who starts the first match compared to who starts the first test. And I think if you look at this, it's very much a side, and I think we'll see that against the Lions next week and the Sharks. Those first couple of games will be opportunities for players to try and play themselves into the sort of test lineup, and the closer we get to the Springboks, the more you start to see how that they will sort of want to line up. But lots of players obviously who haven't really been part of the camp. All the English players are very late to the party. Some of the Saracens players have managed to link up, but a lot of the players who are still involved in top 14 and Premiership haven't really been involved in the training camp, and that's why there's not a single Englishman in the starting lineup, even with the 2 late injuries and stuff like that. But there are quite a few on the bench, and also players like Finn Russell and Stuart Hogg who ply their trade outside of Scotland, they're not involved. Whereas most of the Welsh, Irish, and Scottish players play for Pro 14 clubs, and their season's been over for a couple of weeks now, so they've been able to train with the Lions. But before we look at the 2 teams themselves, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. For Japan, it's Japan is Japan. We kind of come to know what to expect, and that's not to underestimate them. For example, they will always sort of punch higher than their weight. But a couple of players who are starting to play for them, adding a little bit of bulk to them. They've always been known as a very skillful, very quick inside. But a couple of bigger players, a lot of them are imports, from sort of South Africa, Australia, even New Zealand, which do add a little bit of bulk to that side. So we'll start with the British and Irish Lions, and you'll see the first are the 2 changes there at number 7, number 3. It was supposed to be Zonda Ferguson and Hamish Watson, but they've had to be replaced at the last minute. So the front row will be Rory Sutherland, Ken Owens, and Tadek Furlong. Tadek Furlong, I think, is a fantastic player. But apparently it looks like Xander Ferguson is in contention to be the starting untitled. Warren Gatland saying that he's not 100%, so they're not going to risk him, but he'll have his chance. He will start the next 2 games, which will be the Lions and the Sharks, to try and get into that test spot. And then the 2 locks will be Ian Henderson and Alan Jones. I think it's quite a good lock pairing there. I'll be interested to see what they're going to do with Tadek Byrne. He's been named at number 6 for tomorrow, but can double down as lock. Justin Tipuric is the man who's come in ahead of Hamish Watson. Very, very upset for Hamish Watson. I think, it was really, really exciting. He's really earned that opportunity and was very excited to see him play. But, Justin Tipuric, what a world-class player to be able to come in. And Jack Conan will be at the back of the scrum. The halfback combination, I think, could very well be the test halfback combination in Conor Murray and Dan Biggar. It's tried, it's tested. They've both been on tours before. They're very experienced players, get to know them quite well. But the South African Duan van der Merwe will have an opportunity tomorrow to stay claim for a starting spot in that number 11 jumper. Josh Adams is on the other wing. The 2 centres are the Irish centres of Bundy Aki and Robbie Henshaw. Liam Williams will start at full back. So it's a decent side, and I think quite a lot of players there trying to sort of make, put their hand up. The likes of, I think, Ian Henderson's putting a hand up for a potential spot in the starting lineup, as is, Rory Sutherland. In fact, the entire front row could be sort of putting their hands up for potential test spots. I think players who are starting, who I think will be test starters, are Alan Jones. I think Tipuric's very close to a starting position. Dan Biggar and Conor Murray, I think, will start. Liam Williams, I think, will start. Could be in that side as well. Josh Adams, maybe. Robbie Henshaw probably got the run outside at centre at the moment. I think Bundy Aki, I'm not quite sure he'll start there in the first test. But on the bench, Jamie George, Wyn Jones, Carl Sinclair, who wasn't even supposed to be in the squad, has been called in. He was originally called in to replace Andrew Porter, and now he's been called into the bench as a result of Rory Sutherland's injury. So look, the stars are starting to align for Carl Sinclair, so he will have a run out tomorrow. Wyn Jones, a very good player there. And then the 2 replacements are Courtney Laws and Talapa Falatau. Interested to see how they use them. As I said, Tadek Byrne can be shifted onto the lock, so you can sort of make way for Courtney Lords and Falatau as well. Ali Price, Scottish scrum half, Owen Farrell and Anthony Watson make up the rest of the English contingent that will come off the bench tomorrow. Quite interested to see where Owen Farrell comes on. If they're going to look at bringing Dan Biggar on and playing Owen Farrell as His fly half, or is he going to replace Bundy Aki and move into the centres? Should be quite telling in terms of a bit of a precedent that we can start seeing for tomorrow for the tour itself. For Japan, a couple of names who are starting to become sort of household names. As we've come to know, there is a bit of a South African flavour to it. But I'm going 1 through to 15. It's Keita Inagagi, Atsushi Sakata, Jiwon-ku at the front row. Then Wimpy van der Walt, the South African born and raised, and James Moore, who's originally from Australia, will be the two locks. Both quite big, both quite physical, add a bit of bulk to that pack. The loose trio will be Michael Leach, who's been a fantastic captain for Japan. Lapis Lapaskakni from South Africa, originally from South Africa, and then Amanaki Mafi will complete that loose trio. The halfback combination is Kaito Shikino and Yu Tamura. Tamura is a very, very good player. He's played a lot of rugby. He's about 32 years old now. He's a very, very classy player. I think he's somebody I really, really like. And then moving into the back line, Cesare Fafita and the Ferrari Kotaro Matsushima, who was actually educated in South Africa down in Graham College. He will be starting the wing. Lots of pace there. Very exciting player. The centre combination will be Ryoto Nakamura and Timothy Lafaela. And then at fullback, we've got Ryuri Yamanaka. And on the bench, Kazuki Hirikoshi, Craig Miller, Asili Aibala, Jack Cornelson, Kazuki Himeno, Tavita Tatafan, Naoto Saito, and Rikiya Matsuda. So I mean, it's as I said, quite a few names there that will recognize. As I said, Yu Tamura is a very good player. Matsushima is a very quick player. Michael Leach has been very good. The South Africans will know Wimpy van der Walt and Lapis Lapaskakni as well. James Moore is a nice big physical presence. So look, it's not going to be a walkover for the British Irish Lions. In theory, you'd think that they would have more than enough to try and beat the Japanese side. But the one thing you know about Japan, you must never underestimate them. So it should be quite an interesting game. I'm going to go Lions by 15. I think they're going to try and come out firing. And also, as I said, it's quite interesting to see what sort of game plan they're going to go with. It's Warren Gatland's always been known for a very big, bulking forwards and a very physical sort of game plan, but having brought in, something like Ray Townsend, who plays a much more open game brand of rugby, it'll be really interesting to see how the Lions go about their business tomorrow. But let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.